Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Target terrified of new boycott, cancels LGBT merch nationwide. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. The boycott worked last year. Target is backing off. They know their actual customers don't want massive amounts of LGBT pride merchandise featured in the front of all their stores, pushing an ideological agenda on their families and their children. They're doing what they should have done in the first place with this merchandise. They're focusing on a lot less stores, at most half of them, who actually want this merchandise. Will they have gigantic displays promoting them in these stores? I am sure they will not. There isn't exact reporting on that yet. But they're not pushing it the way they were pushing it last year. They're rolling it back completely. Last year, they had more than 2,000 items they developed, individual items, to promote their LGBT agenda. This year, they're definitely going to be doing less. They're also going to offer the merchandise online. Hey, if you want to offer it online and people want to go search and find it, that's fine. What Target's customers did not want is having it pushed on them. Boycotting the store severely damaged Target's stock and also damaged their sales. They're aware of it, and they've made this response. It doesn't mean you should go and support a company that would ever do a thing like this, disregard what their customers obviously wanted, but it does mean that you do have the power to affect change if you don't support companies that take advantage of or abuse their power with their customers. Coming from Bloomberg, and it's interesting to see how they spin this. Target to cut LGBT Pride Month products from some stores after backlash. Some stores. It's at least half of all their stores, and there won't be these massive displays. Walmart carried LGBT merchandise, and for the most part, customers really didn't complain. Sure, Walmart threw some merchandise out. They weren't trying to feature it in their stores and co-opt their stores to push an agenda, and it's obvious what the difference is. Target had so little respect for their customers, thinking, oh, these customers are stupid. They'll think this is all normal if we push it because we're Target. We know what we're doing. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Retailer plans to carry full LGBT-themed assortment online. Sure, knock yourselves out. Sell whatever you want to sell online. I did around 50 videos on the Target situation last year, following it as the updates went along. No one's concerned about what Target sells online. No one really cares about that. What they care about is when a regular, normal American family goes into a store and they have to explain to children what's going on there. Families don't want to be pushed and pressured to normalize the LGBT agenda, the trans agenda, and everything else that Target was pushing. Everybody is fine with live and let live. Just stay out of the way other people want to live. They don't necessarily want to be part of whatever your ideology is. They go on to say, last year's customer threats contributed to a decline in sales. Last year's customer threats. Threats to customers, maybe. There were very few threats by customers against Target. In fact, there were bomb threats against Target. But those weren't from customers. Those were from LGBT people threatening Target for removing the LGBT merchandise during Pride Month. That wasn't regular people. I did a video about that. This video is called Woke Target Gets Bomb Threats from LGBT Activists Over Removing LGBT Kids' Clothing. And there are citations from the articles this was sourced on. The police department said who was responsible. It wasn't the regular family people. Bud Light just went through this a couple of days ago. We just did a video about this. Bud Light promises to stay in our lane after trans backlash. So a high-level European Anheuser-Busch executive came out and said, look, we're going to stay in our lane. We're not going to try to tell people they need to adopt this agenda and mix our brands up with it. By stay in our lane, this is what we mean. The phrase stay in your lane is used as a term of admonishment or advice against those who express thoughts or opinions on a subject about which they are viewed as having insufficient knowledge or ability. Bud Light got the message, and so did Target. Daily Mail is not pulling a Bloomberg and trying to spin it. From dailymail.com, Target restricts sale of LGBT-themed merchandise for Pride Month after backlash over trans-friendly slogans on t-shirts for kids led to customer boycott. And this was Bloomberg that really got the reporting on this. This is Bloomberg's inside sources. All the other articles seem to be based on this Bloomberg article. So when I get you up to date, I'm always going to the source. Target Corp won't sell LGBT-themed merchandise in some stores during Pride Month in June, after a backlash dented revenue last year. By their first paragraph, they're not blaming customer threats. They're blaming the backlash from their, quote, dented revenue, which means sales that got reduced, because people did not want to support this. The Minneapolis-based retailer said it plans to offer Pride products in select stores based on historical sales performance. They will also be available online. Okay, good. So why would you ever offer the merchandise in stores where you don't have any history of any interest in this kind of merchandise? Of course, it was pushing an agenda. Target is likely to stock the products in about half of its nearly 2,000 stores in the U.S., people familiar with the matter said, declining to be identified discussing private information. The company has typically sold the Pride assortment in all of its stores in recent years, and they will not have massive displays even in those half of the 2,000 stores, which if you ask me, I'm expecting that to be more like half of the half. This is a spin job from Target. They can't hide Pride Month. It's coming up soon. People are going to be talking about Target again because of all the drama they created last year. In a statement on its website, Target said the items will be curated based on consumer feedback and will include adult apparel, food and beverages, and home goods. Oh, no children's apparel this time? Because that's what really set people off. They say, hey, look, don't push this on our children in all of your stores, or we won't go to all of your stores. Their stock was affected. Their sales were affected. They got the message. Quote, Target is committed to supporting the LGBT community during Pride Month and year-round, according to a spokeswoman for the company, adding that the company will have internal programs and a presence at local Pride events around the country to celebrate the observance. Target faced threats from some customers last year over its Pride merchandise, including bathing suits designed for transgender people, and removed some items from sale. Let me translate that one. Target faced actual literal bomb threats in multiple stores from activists that were furious that the stores were pulling back on offering this merchandise and pushing the displays. They destroyed so much of this merchandise. They pulled down so many displays, and they did it because customers were offended by what Target was doing. Advocacy groups then urged the company to put products back on shelves, which the company would not do. Meanwhile, Anheuser-Busch's Bud Light promotion featuring transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney sparked a long-standing boycott, destroying the Bud Light brand, cutting the sales nationally by at least 30% by volume, costing them shelf space that they really can never get back because stores will not stock beer or any product that does not sell. Brands like Modelo, who took over for Bud Light, when people swapped out Bud Light for Modelo, now have that extra share space, other competitors as well. For Target, the upcoming Pride Month is crucial. Last year's pushback, along with softer demand for discretionary products, contributed to a persistent decline in sales. Comparable sales remain underwater, though the company has said it expects them to return to growth in the second quarter. Executives said last year that they want the assortment to resonate broadly and that the reaction served as a signal for them to learn. Chief Executive Officer Brian Cornell told employees last summer that it had been gut-wrenching to see what staffers had confronted. No complaints about the bomb threats, though. Literally, Target did not complain about the bomb threats they were receiving. Google that. You'll see it's not just my video. Local police reported what actually happened there. One of the biggest challenges was contemplating how adjustments Target was making for its staff safety would affect the LGBT community, he said. They don't want to listen to their customers, but they're forced to listen to their customers. That's not the kind of company I like to support. From the Daily Mail, Target restricts sale of LGBT-themed merchandise for Pride Month after backlash over trans-friendly slogans on t-shirts for kids led to customer boycott. Target is set to limit the sale of LGBT-themed merchandise for Pride Month after the retailer faced a huge backlash a year ago. Ahead of its Pride product release in June, a practice that it's followed since 2013, Target will reduce the number of stores selling the merchandise and stop offering Pride-themed children's clothes. Notice? They avoid mentioning that on Bloomberg. They don't want to talk about how they're not going to be pushing Pride-themed merchandise on children this year. Daily Mail didn't miss that. And in fairness to me, neither did I. The adult-only options come a year after calls to boycott the brand over its collection, including tuck-friendly swimsuits and children's t-shirts with the slogan, Trans people will always exist. This week, Target said it was only releasing LGBT products in around half of its 2,000 stores nationwide based on historical sales performance, according to Bloomberg. A Target spokesman told CNN that despite dialing down its LGBT-themed merchandise, the company is committed to supporting Pride Month. Quote, most importantly, we want to create a welcoming and supportive environment for our LGBT team members, which reflects our culture of care over the 400,000 people who work at Target, the spokesperson added. It is unusual for me to see a company specifically talk about how it wants to make certain employees comfortable and will do whatever it can to make that happen. But they're not regarding their other employees, which of course are the majority of their employees. So what are they doing? What is this going to lead to? Let me know what you think in the comments below. When it was faced with the backlash a year ago, the outrage grew to the point that several stores received bomb threats. And this is not true what they say. If they didn't pull the clothing line, and the company's share price tanked by over $10 billion. The share price did tank. But no one threatened the store with bomb threats to remove the merchandise. It was because they removed the merchandise. Normal customers erupted in a fury at some of the offerings, which included children's literature such as Bye Bye Binary, as well as posters reading Ask Me About My Pronouns. Calendars reading Queer All Year were also among the products, with others including rainbow-covered children's clothes and adult bodysuits. Target CEO Brian Cornell pulled the merchandise from stores just days before Pride Month began. And I want you to see what I'm talking about here. From the Washington Post, this was from June 12, 2023. Target stores see more bomb threats over Pride merchandise. The only place they get into specifics are here, and this is the Washington Post. It's about as pro-Pride Month as you can possibly get for a media outlet. This is not Fox News. From the Washington Post, news outlets in Vermont, New Hampshire, and New York received the same threatening email on Saturday, according to South Burlington Police Chief Sean Burke. The message, which accused Target of betraying the LGBT community, named a store in South Burlington, Vermont, and ones in Plattsburgh, New York, and in Keene and West Lebanon, New Hampshire. That was from people who felt that Target was betraying the LGBT community, at least according to the police chief. Who else you going to ask? The police chief in Washington Post. Now you know. Experts have now said that the recent move to limit the offerings this year comes as Target finds itself in the unenviable position of being in the middle of culture war debates. The move was a sensible approach, Neil Saunders, managing director of retail for Global Data, told CNN. But he warned it runs the risk of Target being accused of not being proud of Pride. But maybe Target isn't proud of Pride. Maybe Walmart isn't actually proud of Pride. Maybe they just want to sell things that their customers will buy. When you have a store, you can't just put whatever you want in your store and say, listen, I want to put this stuff in my store. You need to buy it because I said so for a really good reason. Like, no, our money is our money. We spend it the way we want to spend it. Whether the store has certain political or ideological views or is proud of this holiday and not proud of that holiday, maybe they're not proud of Groundhog's Day or National whatever Donut Day. I don't know. I'm not equating one holiday with another holiday. I'm just saying it doesn't matter if the store is proud of one thing or another. It matters if the store has something that you want to buy. That's it. He goes on to say, unfortunately for Target, it's been dragged into the culture wars, and it's in a position where it can't win whichever it does. Target put themselves in this position. They could just stock merchandise at a good price that people actually want to buy. I mean, that's what a retail store really is. It didn't just get reinvented because people wanted to push an ideological agenda inappropriately. Target executives reportedly said at a recent earnings call that they acknowledged the strong reaction last year, and it was an indicator that the company had to pause and adapt and learn. In 2014, Target publicly endorsed marriage equality, and the following year, 2015, it announced it was ending the policy of dividing certain products like toys by gender. You know, in a few hours when I'm done with this video, I'm going to go out and pick up some Chinese food. And I have no idea what their feeling is about marriage equality, or when they came to the realization that they felt the way they feel about marriage equality, or why they feel that way. That's what stores and businesses are supposed to be doing, focusing on delivering products and services that we want to buy in a competitive environment where we don't need to spend our money at that store. I don't need to buy Chinese food. I certainly don't need to buy Chinese food from that one location. They need to keep me interested somehow. Give me good service. Give me good products. And if they won't, I won't spend my money there. That's what these companies need to show they're focused on. Believe it or not, Target also introduced a gender-neutral clothing line for children, and in April 2016, amid a nationwide discussion about bathroom access, announced that transgender people were free to use whichever bathroom they choose. 3 months later, it responded to protests by spending $20 million to add a private bathroom for each of its stores. At the time, Target CEO Cornell said, "I think those are just good business decisions, and it's the right thing for society. And it's a great thing for our brand." I don't know how they think that that's a good thing for their brand, much less a great thing for their brand, because it's really not. It's just one of these small things that generally escapes people's notice that doesn't make them not want to shop at the store. They blew it last year by overly pushing the LGBT agenda during Pride Month on all of their customers and their families. Well, the things we've done from a diversity, equity, and inclusion standpoint, it's adding value. It's helping us drive sales. It's building greater engagement with both our teams and our guests. And those are just the right things for our business today. The CEO who caused all this nonsense is still at the company. There is a lawsuit against Target Corporation from investor Brian Craig, sponsored by America First Legal. We'll see how that turns out. Lawsuits do take a long time. But in the meantime, Target is backing off, and they're backing off even more than they're admitting through Bloomberg. One thing without a doubt, Target learned their lesson because of the backlash and the boycott they got hit with. It destroyed their stock, it damaged their sales, and they're cutting back severely this year. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.